it's Pam again. I'm here for our Thursday coffee chat, and I don't actually have coffee. Once again, I would love to have coffee, but I've already had 1.5 cups, and that's about all I can deal with on a day. So I'm drinking some organic green tea, and it's actually really nice. Got a bit of a different vibe here, and I thought I'd give you the view out a window this time because it's lightly falling snow outside, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's kind of picturesque. Today is January 23rd, 22nd, I believe. It's gotten a little bit colder here suddenly in Alberta, Canada. And yeah, so it's nice to just be inside and have a candle lit and have a little cup of something warm and sustaining. I've been going through it this week. Maybe it's January, maybe it's, seasonal affective disorder. I am really kind of hit a wall, I think, yesterday. And so I wanted to talk today, and the only title that came to mind was, "This is me questioning everything." I don't know, have you ever came to a point, and I'm sure I have many times, and you probably have too, came to a point where you just start questioning everything you're doing. Everything started to feel like I was a failure at it. And I think what set it off, kind of like an avalanche, that just slowly builds, was a family texting me, the mom texting me, "The girls aren't interested in piano anymore. And, we've paid, or can I pay you at the end of the month? Blah, blah, blah." And that happens. Then at the same time, an adult who's taking lessons, she's going through some things, and she just said, I don't think I can do it anymore. And there's just been kind of a lot of things where I'm questioning. And then when I was doing my lessons yesterday, I have had all week this thing where parents are dropping off their kids early, like 10 minutes early, leaving, and I'm not quite ready for them, but they're there, and then they don't pick them up. So they're sitting there going into the other person's time who's come, and that happens, but it just seems to be happening a lot. And I always just want to keep things really flexible and just really simple. That's how I like to roll. So, you might say, well, get on your computer and type up an email and send it out saying, "We can't have this anymore." And I might have to do that. But for now, I'm just going to roll with it. And if I have to talk to individual parents about it, I will. But anyway, all that to say, just feeling like, what am I doing? And I know I kind of hopped into doing the piano and voice lessons a little bit out of desperation, because I really wanted to be able to have an income to help out, and mainly to help out my kids. My son is going to university, and he's working, but we didn't want him to have to take out student loans the first year, blah, blah, blah. So I know if there's lots of opinions on that, but that's just what we chose to do. So, and then the other job I'm doing, which is creating courses for a high school that I used to work at. The principal contacts me like once a semester and says, "Can you make, a social 30 course," which is grade 12 history, grade 12 social, for those not in Alberta, or English can you make this course for this stream? And so I've made so many courses, and they're good courses. And I specifically made them for that school, and it doesn't really pay very much. But I wanted to keep my toes kind of, in the teaching world. And one of the things I love most about teaching, um, you know, the students I love the most, but one of the things that really drew me to teaching was I love creating things, almost out of nothing. Or great if you have a textbook to work with. A lot of times I don't. I am just creating an entire course based off of some goals and outcomes that are listed. And it's really challenging to make it interesting, to make it flow, to, all of those things. But that's kind of boring for you. So I'll stop. But I was thinking about everything. I'm questioning what I'm doing. I'm writing, but hardly anyone's reading it. I'm, kind of keeping my foot in the teaching world, but just barely. I'm teaching lessons, but I feel like I'm, struggling. And I think it's partly just the time of year, and partly it's things in me that I haven't maybe overcome. Yeah. Things in me like being able to have really firm boundaries. I think my boundaries are way firmer than they ever were. I mean, I created a policy page for the lessons when I started out, and I listed some things out there really clearly. Do people follow it? No. And you just get tired. You get tired of drawing lines and then people just walk over them. And I really resist being, I don't know, like I don't want to be abrasive at all. To me, that's almost worse. Does that make sense? So I'm sure that you watching might have some thoughts, and it's okay if you tell me what I should be doing, because I'm sure you have some wisdom. I always think that I know I have wisdom in many areas, and I'm so grateful for that. It's come at a cost. However, there are blind spots in all of our lives, and for me, I know I have blind spots where someone else looking in could say, well, just do this, right? Or why are you so hung up on that? Just do this. So sometimes we wrestle through on our own, and a little bit of help and encouragement from someone else could really get us over the hump. So, well, do we ride out tough times, or do we make a change? And that's the essential thought I wanted to talk about today. Besides, this is me questioning everything. Is it that we just need to persevere and get through a certain situation, a rough time, or is change needed? So I think it's important for me and all of us to reflect on why something is tough. Why does this feel so bad? Why am I so anxious about this? And just explore it. Sit with it. Because as I've learned, sometimes that feeling is coming up again and again because I actually need to make a change. I actually need to say no to something or step out of my comfort zone and explore something totally different. So, yeah, do we ride out tough times? And in the past, there have been so many tough times where I've just kind of had to grit my teeth and hold on for dear life. And every day, is a struggle. Every day I'm praying, I'm crying out to God, please help me. I am, in so much emotional pain or something else, right? Over different situations, family things. And yeah, I've gotten through those things. I'm on the other side. So yeah, how are you guys doing today? Let me know. Is it snowing where you're at, or are you on the other side of the world where it's balmy and the sun is shining? I'm really looking forward to spring, of course, and it will take a long time to come here. And that's probably part of it. Part of it is I need to maybe get outside more, even though the sun is barely there behind a kind of slate gray sky sometimes. But maybe I need to just shake things up. Maybe I need to say something. Maybe I need to draw some lines in the sand, right? And then there's a part of me that just, I don't want to give up on things that I've started. I never want to do that. I always want to persevere, do a good job, and yet there's a part of me that just wants to say, throw up my hands and abandon the whole thing, abandon the whole piano teaching thing. So yeah, just a lot of little things that are, one of the things that is really hard about teaching piano is when you have these little ones, or you have kids that are, for lack of a better word, they're very, very spoiled. And they kind of expect to be entertained. They expect it to be fun all the time. And when they reach a point where it gets a little bit hard, where it doesn't just flow naturally, where they have to really think and find that note, and learn to read the music. Oh boy, they're spinning around on the piano bench, and it's kind of a fight, right? You feel like, I'm not just a teacher, I'm a babysitter, I'm an entertainer, I am, and honestly, that's a lot like being a school teacher too. You're trying to keep them interested, you're looking after their needs, you're trying to heat up their lunch for them. There's just so many things that teachers do. And so piano teaching is kind of like the small microcosm of that, where yes, I just have one student at a time. How hard can it be? But yeah, some of those little ones, they have about 10 minutes of attention span, and then it's like, okay, how am I going to use the rest of this time wisely so that your parents can get the most for their money? Well, thanks for hanging out with me today. There's a lot of things that I could talk about. There's a lot going on. But I just wanted to, just be really honest and say, I am questioning everything right now. I don't have answers, and I'm kind of frustrated because I've made some big changes, turned around, set things up, done a lot of work, and maybe I'm just looking for an ideal that doesn't exist. An ideal that doesn't exist. That is quite possible, knowing me. So wherever you're at today, I hope you're doing well, and thank you for stopping by. Leave any of your thoughts or ideas in the comments. I'd be happy to read them, and I'm just so glad that you're here. All right, I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.